guys, Gold Pony here today, and I've been doing so many reviews lately, week in and week out. I wanted to switch it up today. And so I've had a couple of you guys request from me a video on how to drive a manual. And so today I am sitting in the 2016 Dodge Challenger Hellcat courtesy of Stettler Dodge Jeep Ram in York, PA. And so that is the video I'm going to do today. And so let me start by why I think it's a good idea to learn how to drive manual. First thing being, you're gonna have a better connection to the car. It's instant gratification. Just like mowing the grass or cleaning your car or something like that. The car instantly listens to you. So when you want to change gears, you have control over it rather than an automatic telling you when it wants to change gears. And honestly, automatics are great for daily driving, but to have more fun, a manual is definitely where it's at. Another reason to drive manual is there's still a lot of cars out there that only come in a manual, like the WRX STI or the Viper. There's tons of other cars as well. Or I could say the Challenger Hellcat that I'm driving right now, although this one does come in an automatic if you wanted it. But anyways, last reason it's a good idea to drive manual is because these cars are an anti-theft device in themselves. Because I've actually seen a lot of news stories where the car thief gets into the car only to find out that it's a manual and they don't know how to drive manual, so they can't end up stealing the car. And those stories are freaking hilarious. Anyways, that is why I'm making this video today. So let's get started. And so let me start by saying I hope you guys can hear me okay. I want to do it this way because I want to be able to show you guys everything that I'm doing. So to start, some of the differences that a manual is going to give you is, first thing is you're going to have 3 pedals. First one being the gas, of course, second one being the brake, and third one being the clutch. That is going to be the extra pedal for the manual, of course. And so the second thing that's going to be different with the manual is, of course, the shifter. Actually, one thing that I would recommend before you even start driving the car is just to get familiar with the shifter, like how far the throws are. So if it's a short shifter, if it's got longer throws, and exactly where each gear is, just so that you're more familiar for when you actually start shifting on the road. Another thing I would recommend definitely checking out before you even start the car is to look at the different gears on the shifter. So it's got this cool little diagram here. It tells you which gear is which, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And then the other thing you definitely always have to look for is reverse, because it's going to be a little different in every manual. So for instance, reverse in this one is going to be in the upper right hand corner. So to put this one in reverse, I'm going to press in on the brake and the clutch, slide it all the way into the upper right hand corner. And some of them are going to have things where you push down and slide it over, and some of them you lift up underneath and slide it over. So it's going to be different in every car, but in the end it's going to serve the same purpose, so it's all good. And so the next thing I want to recommend is to get your perfect driving position, get adjusted with your seat, get adjusted with your steering wheel, because in the end what you're going to want to do is to be able to press this all the way in without having to adjust your driving position, of course. So make sure that your left leg is going to be comfortable pressing in the clutch all the way. Also, another thing I wanted to mention real quick while I'm down here is shoes are kind of important as well. So you don't want anything with like a huge heel, or if you're a girl, nothing with high heels, of course. That is going to be a pain in the butt to drive stick in. So anything with a low sole is going to be better. So Adidas Sambas is my choice for driving manuals, but anything with a lower sole, you're going to have a better feel for the pedal. And overall, it's going to be easier to drive manual in. But now let's have some fun and go over how to start a manual. And so first thing I would probably recommend is make sure you are in a flat parking lot, which I am in right now, just so that when you start it up, there's no chance of you drifting backwards or anything like that. But so anyways, to start, my e-brake is going to be on, which is this pedal right over here. Or you could have an electronic e-brake, which sometimes is on there as well. But anyways, next thing you want to do is make sure the car is in neutral. And what I usually do for that is just to throw the shifter back and forth, because if it goes back and forth, it is in neutral. Now, if you're in gear, you can't really throw it back and forth, so that's how you're going to know you're in gear. So make sure you're in neutral, and that's important so that when you start it up, so long as you're in neutral, you're not going to stall out. But if you're in gear and you start it up and you let off the clutch, you're going to stall out. And then what you're going to want to do is press in on the brake and the clutch, and then press the engine start button. And of course, since I was in neutral, I am not going to stall out. And since my e-brake is on, I am not drifting backwards. But now let's go over the fun part. And so first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your foot on the brake and let go of the e-brake. Then you're going to want to press in on the clutch and shift to first gear. Now that you're in first gear, what you're going to want to do is simultaneously press in on the gas while letting go on the clutch until you start moving. And so now let me do this from a different view again, if I can. Again, I'm going to put the car in first gear. I'm going to let go of the brake, press in on the gas, and let go of the clutch until you start moving. Basically, what you're going to want to do is practice that over and over and over again in the parking lot until you really find that grab point. And then after you find that grab point and you've done it a couple of times, it becomes like second nature and you don't even have to think about it anymore. Anyways, now that I'm moving here, to stop the vehicle in a manual, what you're going to want to do is press in on the clutch, put it in neutral, and then you can let go of the clutch and press the brake. And again, since you're in neutral, you are not going to stall out. But now another thing I think is worth mentioning is how to come to a fast stop in a manual when you're driving on the highway. So basically what you're going to want to do if you need to come to a fast stop is to put it in neutral as quick as you can and to put both feet on the brake and the clutch. And so real quick, this is what that's going to look like. I love Brembo brakes. But anyways, next question you're probably gonna ask is what happens if I get to a humongous hill and I have to start in first gear? Am I going to drift backwards? Well, first let me start by saying most modern cars these days, including this one I'm sitting in right now, has hill start assist. And so what that means is when you put it in neutral and you let go of the brake, you're not gonna drift backwards because it's not gonna start moving until you hit the gas. So that is definitely pretty sweet. In case you have a car with an older manual or a car that doesn't have hill start assist, what you're gonna wanna do is press on the e-brake a little bit, or if you have an e-brake here, just pull that handle. Then you're gonna wanna press in on the clutch, put the car in first gear. And then just like you would with any other acceleration, you're gonna give it a little bit of gas until you hit that grab point. And then let go of the e-brake and you are moving. Now, I just wanted to mention a couple more things you are not going to want to do in a manual. And the first thing and the most obvious thing is going to be ride the clutch. So I have the e-brake on, it is in neutral, so I'm not going to go anywhere, but basically to change gears, put your foot on the brake, use the clutch until you get to that grab point, and then immediately let go. Don't keep your foot pressed in on the clutch the whole time you're driving because that's gonna wear the clutch out super fast, and then you're gonna have to pay to get a new clutch, and nobody wants to do that. Next thing you're not gonna wanna do is to rest your hand on the shifter. Basically, the reason for this is the weight of your hand is actually amplified due to the leverage, and so it's gonna cause premature wear of something called the transaxle shift forks. And again, that's something you don't wanna do in a manual because you want this thing to last as long as you can possibly make it last. Plus, it's always better to have both hands on the wheel anyways for better control. Another thing I would also recommend with driving a manual, when you come up to a stop sign or a red light, make sure you put the car in neutral because again, by leaving it in gear, it's actually going to cause a little more wear. Not a whole lot, but a little more wear on the clutch that's unnecessary. So when you're neutral, you're not going to have that. Then of course, as soon as the light turns green or as soon as it's safe to go at a stop sign, just put your foot on the clutch, shift in the gear. But anyways, you guys, that is about it. I truly hope this video helps somebody. If you have any further questions, feel free to put them in the comments section below. I'm not the best driver in the world, but I have definitely reviewed a good bit of manuals at this point, so I knew the basics at least, which is what I just gave to you guys. So hope that helps. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like the video and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next review. Stay gold.